Hello. You are on a webinar about IBM Cognos Licensing presented by Loadstar Solutions. My name is Heather Cole, and today I'll be presenting you some facts you should know to save yourself and your organization money on IBM Cognos Licensing and support renewals. We have a little disclaimer here that this is information that is put together by Loadstar Solutions based on our working knowledge and working with IBM for a number of years. IBM continuously modifies their information so please refer to their website for the latest information. Each one of you may have a uniquely negotiated contract with individual terms, and if so, those terms will prevail. So we recommend that you also pull those contracts when you start to look at your licensing. These are the views of Loadstar Solutions. This is not to be construed as legal advice, but informational, so that you may ask the right questions both to Loadstar and to your IBM representatives. A little bit about myself. I am the president of Loadstar Solutions. We are a reseller and implementer of IBM Cognos. I am actually a licensed attorney in the state of Illinois. And I am a three-time award winner of the IBM Information Champion Award, which means that we really try and educate people on business analytics. I've been in software for over 20 years, and I spend a lot of time researching and understanding the changes in IBM Cognos licensing. I'm also certified in both the IBM software sales side as well as the software, so I understand the functionality. So I put this together after working with a number of clients and educating them on licensing and realizing that this information could be valuable to a lot more people. So today we'll give you a brief introduction to Loadstar Solutions. We'll talk about IBM Cognos licensing before IBM purchased them, and then what changed when IBM purchased Cognos. We'll talk about Cognos 10 functionality and the changes in licensing there. We'll talk about trading up your licenses to get more power and more bang for your buck out of your licenses. We'll also talk about steps to review your licenses to make sure you have the right mix. And then I'm going to give you some of my own personal Heather's helpful hints. So first off, about Loadstar Solutions. We are an IBM Cognos premier reselling partner. And what that means is we can resell both licensed software as well as support renewal. And we also offer a full service of consulting services. Our experienced consultants can help guide you through the process. And our methodology is to mentor and coach our clients to be self-sufficient. So we're going to train you and educate you. And we also offer customized on-site training as well as web-based training. And we have a team of technical consultants that can help with installs and upgrades and troubleshooting. We cross-train our consultants so they understand both TM1, BI, as well as data warehousing, so they understand the full solution set for business analytics. We are a certified woman-owned business. For some of you, that means something in your purchasing department. And we host a number of events, including user groups in Chicago, Atlanta, Michigan, Florida, and virtually, and a bunch of webinars like this today. And we also do those in various local geographic areas. And sometimes we even host our Loadstar Social Club, which is an opportunity for you to network with other Cognos clients. So let's talk about licensing pre-IBM. Back in the day, both going back to the Cognos days and even before that, some of you may be familiar with the datum, there were some very creative salespeople. In smaller companies like Cognos was and like a datum was, the salespeople had a little bit more leeway to get creative to try and get license deals done. So therefore, if you're an older client, you may have some creative licensing, and that could really be in your favor, or maybe the IBM licensing is more in your favor. So you want to be educated in what that says. Before IBM, Cognos required non-production licensing if you had a test or dev environment. But that rule was kind of loosely held. In certain geographic areas, they enforced it. In others, they didn't under Cognos. Now that IBM owns it, those rules have changed, and we'll talk about that in a minute. There were also frequent addendums and modifications to contracts back in the Cognos days. Again, salespeople would get creative trying to get the deals done and allow clients to write addendums with special provisions. So the summary, your contract may be unique. Now, many of these contracts have started to expire. and that you've had to sign up in Passport Advantage under the new terms. And we'll talk about where that can be very advantageous for many of you as well. So IBM has certain definitions, and the first definition we're going to talk about is what is an authorized user. Some people have referred to this also as a named user. And most of their IBM Cognos licenses are sold as authorized users. And what that means is each unique person that is given access to the software has to have a license. Generally, it has no bearing on the number of processors that you have on your hardware. It's purely one person, one license. The program may be installed in any number of computers under an authorized user license agreement. So if I'm a user, I can have access to a dev environment, a prod environment, a test environment, as many as I want if I'm an authorized user, provided that the licensing is only based on authorized users. Now note, you can't share an authorized user over many people. You can't say, we're just going to call it, you know, the marketing department and have 6 people share that login. That would violate contract terms. So you may not share it, and you may not reassign it temporarily to other people. So you can't say, hey, Bob's going to use it this week and Jenny next week. So make sure that you've looked at your licensing and you're not sharing those licensing. Now, there's different views on consultants that can work for you. Boiling down to be on the safe side, Loadstar recommends that if you have consultants that are coming there and working on your system, you should have a license for them. And that has been somewhat recently defined. Under Cognos, consultants, actually, as long as they were authorized Cognos consultants, had their own licenses that kind of carried with them. That is not the case in IBM LAM, so make sure if you think you're going to have 1 or 2 consultants that periodically work on your system that you have licenses for them as well. The next definition that we're going to talk about is Processor Value Unit, also known as PVU. This can be very confusing to a lot of people, but basically it is a licensing structure that represents the server, and it grants access to the basic functionalities through their user roles. This is the closest thing that IBM has to an enterprise license. And they have it in certain licenses. You can either buy a named user license or authorized user or a PVU. In other situations, the licensing is a mix. So when we work with a PVU, basically a PVU value is assigned to each core depending on the hardware. And there is a grid that on the IBM website, if you just Google IBM Cognos PVU, you'll get to the grid. And it will tell you that based on whether I have IBM hardware or HP hardware and what model that is, what the PVU rating is. For BI, for example, a lot of times servers or components are going to have a core processor value of either 70 or 100. And what that would mean is if I want a 4-core processor on there and it has a PVU rating of 100 for that hardware that I'm selecting, I would need 400 PVUs to be purchased. Now, watch out. Sometimes when people purchase that, we make estimates, and then they change what hardware they're going to buy afterwards, and instead of being a 100 PVU rating, their hardware is a 70. And so you want to make sure that you buy or own multiples of whatever that PVU rating is, because it doesn't do you any good if you have a partial core. So, for example, if I were to say that I'm going to put it on a 4-core and it's a 100 PVU license, but for some reason I only bought 350 PVUs, then I'm not maximizing. I can only use the 3 cores. And so I have these 50 PVUs that are not being used. So that might, if you look at it and look at your hardware, you might want to purchase to get up to a multiplier of that PVU rating. I realize this can get a little confusing, but if you have any questions, Loadstar's here to help on this. Now, some modules require both a PVU component for the server and an authorized user, for example, IBM Cognos TM1. And with that, the server component has to be purchased, and then you also add authorized users. In that type of licensing, you will need to purchase a non-production license if you want a non-production environment. So note, some licensing can be purchased as authorized or PVU, for example, an enhanced consumer. I can buy authorized users or I can buy PVU. Now, typical rule of thumb is you have to have a real lot of users, typically over like between 500 and 1,000 users in your system to get the PVU to make sense. And the PVU, when you purchase it, is based on that license. So you could buy PVUs for enhanced consumers, but then your advanced business authors might be an authorized user. Understand, if it's a PVU base, IBM doesn't care the number of users that get onto that, okay? Because they're just looking at performance on the core processors. But if you start to have the system slowing down, that's when you're going to have to up it up, add a core, add some PVUs, and so forth. Also note that if you ever change hardware out, you want to go back and reevaluate and make sure you don't accidentally get out of compliance in that the new hardware has a different rating. So again, PVU is only concerned with core processors assigned value. Always check the IBM website for this. They update the PVU ratings periodically. So we mentioned briefly that there are some mixed licensing. Some modules require both a server component and PVU. In a mixed environment, be careful to watch how you install the software to make sure you're compliant. And in these mixed environments, if it requires both, like TM1, the non-prod licenses are required for test environments. TM1, Data Manager are both examples of this. So let's talk about authorized users versus PVU. Authorized users can be used in multiple environments without requiring separate non-prod licenses, provided there was no requirement of a PVU for the server. So Cognos BI is a perfect example. Many of you probably own all authorized users. PVU requires the non-prod licensing for test and dev, and typically you have to have a lot of users to justify the PVU. When you look at moving, some of you may want to move from authorized user to PVU. You've really increased your user counts, and you're getting to that point where you're like, hey, it will be more economical, and we're going to add a lot more users to go PVU. Currently today, there is no trade-up part to go from an authorized user to PVU licensing. However, Loadstar would be happy to work with you, get you a special bid, and make it so that you can make that migration, because IBM has identified that they don't have a trade-up part number for that. But they're definitely willing to work with you as you grow your Cognos footprint. So let's understand the IBM licensing definitions. What changed significantly was the definition and when a non-production environment is required. When IBM acquired Cognos, they basically said, hey, we're going to change the rules on this, and non-prod environments are limited to development, testing, or quality assurance activities that cannot be used for production. They are required if you are under a PVU licensing model. And for those of you older TM1 clients, note that there is now a server component, so you have to purchase non-prod environment if you're going to use one of those. But here's the thing, check your support renewal bills. A lot of you older clients, what happened is you bought non-prods when Cognos required it, and IBM then came in, and now you aren't required, but you're still paying support on that. So check those support renewal bills. That might be an opportunity for savings. Loadstar spends a lot of time saving our clients a ton of money by reviewing their licenses at support renewal time. So if you're interested in us helping you with that, you can contact Kelly Ray in our office, and she'd be happy to help you. So for those of you that end up buying new hardware, and you buy hardware that's beefier than the PVU values that you purchased. For example, you bought something that could have 16 cores, and you only licensed yourself for 4 quarters because you know you're going to grow your footprint. So there's a subcapacity agreement that allows clients to license eligible software products for less than the full capacity of their servers. So when you do that, we leverage the virtual server technology, so that we say, hey, we're only going to use these 4 cores, not all 16. And so that you don't have to license, you don't have to buy PVUs for all 16 that that hardware has. So when you do this, though, if you're an older client, you want to make sure that you've re-signed the new Passport Advantage terms. In 2011, IBM again changed the rules, and under their licensing for Passport Advantage, they automatically kind of gave everyone the subcapacity agreement. You didn't have to sign a separate document. If you have not recently kind of re-signed those PA agreements, you may be under an older contract in which you have to actually physically sign another agreement to have the subcapacity rights. So make sure that you get that in place as well. You don't want to be audited and find out that you're not in compliance when all along you thought you were. Now, as far as the IBM licensed sites, there's a couple different types of sites. For those of you that were bought in Cognos days and maybe negotiated terms, you might be under what we call an FCT contract or site. This is typically for older licenses. Some of these licenses may not be available in Passport Advantage, for example, Cognos Finance, and that's why they're on an FCT site. Some of them just may never have gotten migrated. As a whole, IBM would like to get clients off the FTC site and into their more updated IBM Passport Advantage sites. If you have an FTC site and want to migrate your licenses, let us know. We can help you with that as well. Now, the second type of site is called a Passport Advantage Express. Originally, this was designed for small to medium businesses. It didn't have a points program, and it didn't require an initial purchase of a certain amount. So anybody that was going to buy software could get in the PAE. When you're under a PAE site, the renewal bill for each purchase will be on the date that you bought it. And there's only one way to synchronize those anniversary dates. So you may end up having a lot of different renewal dates because they're on the transaction date. If you want, we can synchronize those. We can kind of get those so you get the bill all in one single anniversary date. Also note that the PAE site typically does not allow addendums. I've seen one or two exceptions, but the general rule of thumb is no addendums, no negotiated terms were allowed in the PAE sites. So the most advanced type of site is called the Passport Advantage site. Originally, this was designed for larger IBM clients, and it was designed to provide volume pricing. However, IBM Cognos licenses didn't have any discounts for the volume, unlike some of the other software brands under the IBM umbrella. About a year ago, IBM changed the terms on this as well and no longer required a significant initial investment or purchase to start a PA site. And so anybody that purchases it now can get into a Passport Advantage site. One of the nice things about this is that the renewal dates are automatically given an anniversary date. So instead of getting 20 IBM Cognos support renewal bills all in different times, you're trying to figure out your licenses, they will automatically give you a co-termination date. Passport Advantage is the only place that they allow addendums. So if you make a major purchase and you're negotiating terms, then you would need to be in a Passport Advantage site. Note, IBM is really pushing away from any addendums at all. They want everyone in a cookie-cutter contract. And so if you're going to try for an addendum, you really have to have a large purchase. So make sure you have proper expectations there. So some considerations that you should look at are if you're utilizing enterprise planning contributors on TM1, it's recommended that you have all your planning and TM1 licenses on the same site. And make sure you renew your enterprise planning contributors. If you're not using planning after the move to TM1, make sure you still advise people that, hey, we might not be using planning, but we're using the contributors. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this, about a couple of years back, the IBM changed the rules here as well, and they said that if you had an enterprise planning contributor license, it could be used on planning and or TM1. So that really paved the way for a lot of our planning clients to move into TM1 without having to make a major investment in all those end users again. If you're interested in this, make sure you look for the word enterprise planning on your renewal bill. If it just says planning or it says Series 7 planning or S7 contributors, those do not have the license rights. We see this time and time again. The IBM reps aren't familiar with the old licensing. They miss it. You need to make sure you have the enterprise planning board there. If you don't, call us. Kelly would be happy to help you migrate those licenses and get you to the more current licensing model. If you have all your IBM software on a single site, the support renewal bill will go out to the designated person. So make sure that that name is updated. They email out these invoices, and you got to be careful because watch out, they may move to list price on you. Be diligent. Make sure that it doesn't just go to a purchasing person, but somebody that knows Cognos can look at that, look at your licensing, and make sure it's correct. If you have questions on it, call us. If you don't know who gets the support renewal, call us. We can dig up that information as well. If you want to discontinue support on licenses, let's say you pull your support renewal bill, you see a non-prod BI environment, and all your licenses are authorized users, and you're like, I want to dump that license. Be careful. If you have a huge discount or any kind of discount on your complete support renewal bill, IBM will tell you that they don't want to erode revenue. And if you discontinue that line item, the bill will either stay the same or it might even go up to list price. So be very careful with that. Again, Loadstar can help you manage this, and a lot of times can help you remove that and kind of plead the case as to why you should not be charged for that. Some beneficial changes occurred in the last couple of years with IBM licensing. The first one that we love is the end users that we are now recommending is an enhanced consumer. Many of you that bought under Cognos days bought consumers, not enhanced consumers, because it didn't have a lot more functionality in the enhanced consumer. Well, that's all changed, because now enhanced consumer includes IBM Cognos Mobile. A couple of years ago, that was a separate license. You had to have a separate named user and server fee for mobility. Check your support renewals. If you bought mobility, you shouldn't be paying for it now if you have enhanced consumers. You don't want to pay support on something you have twice, right? Also, enhanced consumers includes Business Insight. Business Insight is also called Workspace. IBM keeps changing the name on this. This is the very powerful dashboarding tool where the end user can interact with the dashboard, drag the widgets, drop them onto their workspace, and be able to play with their own dashboards. Cognos Enhanced Consumer also includes Active Reports. Active Reports is the ability to take a report, download it on, let's say, your PDA and your iPad, and hop on an airplane and be disconnected and interact with it. So it brings a small subset of the data down. And then finally, Enhanced Consumers includes Go Office. Tremendous functionality here if you're a big PowerPoint user. And note I said PowerPoint, not PowerPlay, meaning I have a board presentation, I have these great dashboards, I want the reports in my dashboards pulled into PowerPoint, and I want to add text to it and go to a board meeting. And next month, I have the same board meeting. I want to hit refresh and bring that data up, update my reports in seconds, leveraging the Cognos connector to the Microsoft Office suite. Those are all included in the Enhanced Consumer. So if you have consumer licenses today and you want this additional functionality, call us. We can help you do a trade-up to get to the enhanced consumer licenses. It's not as expensive as buying new licenses, but there is a license fee to get that extra functionality. We already talked about the non-production licenses. If you have all authorized users, technically you don't need non-prod licenses. We see this often in BI and in Cognos Planning. Cognos Insight is now included as well in a number of licenses, including Advanced Business Author, Professional Admin, and then on the TM1 side, the Modeler and the Contributor all have Cognos Insight. If you haven't played with Cognos Insight, you got to go check it out. This is a great little component. It's a desktop version of kind of TM1 and BI blended, like a light version of both of them. And what it allows you to do is, one, great for prototyping, but two, you can actually pull stuff down. It can connect to TM1, pull a model down, or you could build it and push it up. It can also connect to your framework manager and grab that data source so that you can pull it down. IBM has a great website with information on this. It's called the analyticszone.com. Yes, analytics with an S, zone.com. Check it out. You can actually download a version of Cognos Insight, and I believe I just saw another version is coming out, so they keep coming out with new versions of this. Check out the latest. But it's a great prototyping tool. We also have webinars on Cognos Insight periodically, so check our website for events, and you can see the latest Cognos Insight. They also, as we mentioned earlier, changed the enterprise planning licensing so that it could also, the enterprise planning contributors could be used on planning or TM1. Look for the word enterprise. We've talked about that. When you want to move from planning to TM1, we've got a lot of clients doing this right now, and they're all happy with being able to have much larger cube sizes, much faster models, and a lot less maintenance. But you would need to purchase the analytics server, which is a PVU base, and modelers, which are kind of like your modelers in planning, but they have a little bit different functionality. But they're your power users in TM1. So here's my warning, my words of caution. IBM Cognos does not warn you when you have users accessing the studios or functionality that they're not licensed for. There's no warnings, there's no emails that go out to you say, hey, you're about to be out of compliance. It's up to you to make sure you stay in compliance. So you must monitor your organization to make sure that you're staying in compliance. You also must purchase trade-ups for consumers to have the legal rights to all the new functionality in Cognos 10, that being the workspace or Cognos Insight, the Business Insight, the Office, all of that new stuff that they added, the mobility rights. You must make sure those consumers are traded up to enhanced consumers. If not, you got to strip them and make sure that they don't access that functionality. IBM reserves the right to audit you at any time, and actually they use third parties to usually do it on their behalf. But you don't want to be the client that gets caught on an audit. Just, if you think you're even close to your licensing structure, let us know, let us help you. We can usually negotiate discounts for you as long as it's not after the fact. And incidentally, Loadstar, as a partner, can typically sell licenses and support renewals at the same price or lower than IBM can actually sell it. I know it sounds crazy, but those are the rules of the partner world. So the next thing you really want to do is make sure you understand your licensing. Here's an example of our Loadstar cheat sheet that has the licensing rules, the typical ones that we see, along with the functionality across the top. So as we can see here, if we look at Enhanced Consumer at the bottom, it has a significant more amount of functionality than our consumers. Now, if you're interested in receiving a copy of this functionality grid, go ahead, send me an email. My email's there listed on the screen, hcole@loadstarsolutions.com. We'd be happy to send it to you. We offer it to all clients and IBMers for their use. If you're working with another partner, we ask that you don't give our intellectual property to them. We appreciate you respecting that. The worksheet that this is on actually has another tab to it, and that other tab will link you to hyperlinks on the IBM website that will explain what the functionality across the top is. So if you're like, I don't know what collaboration is, it will have a link to take you to explain or give you an online demo of what collaboration is. So go ahead. Send us an email if you'd like this grid. Many people ask for the updates quarterly on this. The licenses in red are actually what we typically sell now under the IBM 10 licensing structure because they give you the most bang for the buck. So if you want more information on it, give me a call. We'd be happy to help. So let's talk about trade-ups, because many of you are probably like, oh my goodness, I need to trade up from consumers to enhanced consumers. So a trade-up is basically trading in the license for a license of a higher value. And what you want to know is trade-ups include 1 year of support maintenance. So let's say that it was the month of March, and I just paid my support renewal bill in February. Well, I just paid my support renewal, and in March I say, hey, I want to trade up. I need to be cognizant of the fact that I've already paid a year of support, and I need to negotiate that. And at Loadstar, what we'll do is we'll request a special bid and show them the numbers that you've already paid that support and try and give you a credit for that. To make it easy, the best time to trade up your licenses is when the support renewal bill is up, because what will happen is we would trade up your licenses and you would not pay those licenses that got traded up. We would not have you pay that on the support renewal bill. So let us know. The best time to do it is at support renewal time. Every now and then, it's more cost-effective to actually buy a new quantity license instead of trading up at a discount. There are some unique situations when that happens, but if so, we want to give you the best cost savings. So let us know what you want to trade up. We'll look at it. We might actually come to you and say, hey, we can save you money by actually selling you new licenses and giving you a big discount on those. When you trade up, make sure your next year's support renewal does not include the licenses you traded in. We've seen this happen a few times where our clients traded up a license and something happened in the IBM support system, and the next year they get the bill and it includes the licenses they traded up from and the ones they traded up to. Well, technically you don't really have those legal rights to all that software, but more importantly, we don't want you to pay the support renewal bill on that software that you don't technically own. So keep a little eye out after you do a trade-up the next support renewal bill time. Again, if you work with Loadstar, we keep an eye on that for you. That's Kelly's strength. She's the queen of making sure our licenses and support renewal bills are done correctly. So here's some trade-up recommendations that we see often. Number one, moving from consumers to enhanced consumers. Again, you get active reports, mobility, business insider workspace, whichever you want to call it. Great, powerful license there. The other one you might want to look at is if you have Series 7 PowerPlay Web, you might want to trade those up to enhanced consumers or Cognos 10 PowerPlay Web. And we can show you the functionality of those on our grid. If that's the PowerPlay license you have, let us know. We can help you with that. We also have a blog written on migrating from PowerPlay to IBM Cognos 10. So check out our website for our blogs. We write on this type of stuff all the time. The other thing is if your support renewal bill says reporting admin as opposed to BI admin, note that you're basically an older client, probably bought during Series 7 time, and you don't have all the same functionality as a true BI admin. It's very confusing because you look at it and you're like, yeah, I got an admin, but they're not the same. The big difference is that a BI admin gives you rights to Event Studio. If you don't know what Event Studio is, I think it's the most underutilized component within the Cognos BI solution. What it does is it allows you to proactively burst out reports or trigger certain reports to be compiled and emailed based on data changes. So it allows you to write in business rules, and when those triggers occur, it takes action and does a task. If you want more information on this, again, check out our website, check out our blogs. If you're not using Event Studio and you own it today, you have a BI admin, you got to check it out because it could make your life a lot easier. So we recommend that everyone does an annual checkup, just like going to the doctor. We recommend that you do this every year, check your licenses. The first step is request an updated Cognos 10 functionality cheat sheet. That's the green grid that I showed you a minute ago. We update that periodically because IBM changes their licensing. It also has the current list price for certain licenses. Review your current entitlements. Again, give us a call. We'd be happy to pull your entitlements and get a listing of everything that's on record with IBM that you own. You'd be amazed how many times these don't match what you think you own. Especially when IBM support renewal recently transitioned to a new system. Some things got lost, so be the diligent consumer. The next thing you want to do is audit your current users in your system and find out how many people are using. Get rid of people that have left the company. If that doesn't automatically happen with your Active Directory, you need to clean it up. Educate yourself on the Cognos 10 functionality and see how it could benefit your customer, your internal customer base. We at Loadstar recommend a great new program. It's called the ROI consultation. It's a 1-hour program. It's free to every client. What we'll do is we'll help you pull these entitlements, and we'll actually do a 1-hour presentation on what you own and how you could leverage it better. And every time we've done it, clients are like, oh my gosh, great information. We didn't know we own dynamic query mode. So there's a lot of stuff that's new that you might not be exposed to. Schedule a meeting with your business users and executives and evaluate any business changes that have happened and educate them on what new functionality you have, like mobility. If you want to try and sell mobility internally in your company, have someone with an iPad go to iTunes, download the Cognos app, and there's samples in there that are very cool. So you want to grab those, start playing with them, let them see it. It's going to really help increase demand on what you can provide from Cognos. Count the number of licenses you need by role and functionality. Again, go back to our green functionality cheat sheet. And then please give Loadstar a call. We offer free license quotes and reviews. We can offer a free ROI consultation. We ask that you consider using us for all your licensing software and services needs. So now for my Heather's helpful hints. First, please, please, please review your support bills. There's nothing more upsetting to us to see that a client got a support renewal bill, it was list price, they processed it through purchasing, they paid it, and then they're locked in at list price when they had either maybe an addendum that did price protections or they had a discounted price from the prior year. If you see a huge increase in your support renewal bill, we can help you with that. The IBM doesn't have written rules on this, but typically we don't see more than a 20% increase over the prior year. If you're seeing something, I had one client, believe it or not, had an 880% increase. Needless to say, they fell off their chair when they got their bill. I said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. We got that. We literally saved them $700,000. So please check your support renewals. Look for what the increase was over prior year. Look at the licensing mix. If you don't know what the licenses even do, call us. That's what we do. And consider upgrading those licenses that you need upgraded at time of renewal. Also, if you're getting 10, 15, maybe even 5 support renewal bills throughout the year and you want to consolidate those, consider moving to Passport Advantage. Again, we can help you with the paperwork to get you moved to a Passport Advantage site. This can help you so that you get one support renewal bill, you can plan your budget better, and you can manage those licenses easier. Also, consider leveraging IBM financing. They have great terms. Periodically, they run promotions that are 0% for 12 months. Now, the trick to this is when you buy licenses. So let's say you're going to do a bunch of trade-ups. I have 500 licenses I want to move from consumer to enhanced consumer. Okay, you're going to buy a trade-up license at that point. So they consider that a license purchase. You can get IBM financing for that. And if you want, let's say you do it at support renewal bill time, what you can also do is you may consider prepaying support to lock in a smaller increase. And you can use IBM financing to pay for that prepaid support. So like using their money. So you might consider buying years 2 and 3 at a locked-in rate. They have great financing terms. Loadstar, again, can help facilitate that for you. Know your sales tax laws. This is a big one. Different states have different rules. For example, Florida is a state where as long as you don't receive any media, meaning no CD-ROMs, no discs, no nothing, but you only download the software, there's no state sales tax on that. So that can be a huge savings, right? So in order to do that, there's a special IBM form that we need you to fill out and submit to IBM to protect you. So if you ever did go through a sales tax audit, we show that IBM has a form on file that says you will never get media, you're download only. That way if someone accidentally sent you a disk, it wouldn't trigger a taxing event. Other states, like Illinois, have a 4-part test that is a loophole. And if you're in Illinois and you want information on that, call me, and we'd be happy to send you the revenue code on that. But different states have different laws, and these are changing. So we always have to keep up to date on what those state sales tax laws are. For example, the state of Wisconsin a couple of years ago added sales tax on software. So let's say you have locations in Wisconsin and in Florida, or maybe in Georgia, where there's no sales tax on this software. You may help decide where you want to put that software if you can avoid sales tax. Versus in Illinois, I mean, sales tax, if you don't do your contract right, can cost you 10%. So we want to save you money on sales tax if possible. Again, we offer a free ROI consultation. We'd love for you to participate. We've had great success. Our clients have all said this is the greatest information, so much information in an hour. We go through your licenses, and then we talk about functionality that's been added and how our clients are leveraging that and how you might be able to leverage it. And then we help you create a roadmap on how you might be able to implement that. So if you're interested in this, give us a call. We'd be happy to help. Here are some links that you should favorite. These links will give you information. So example, the supported products. A lot of people ask, hey, is this version of PowerPlay still supported, or is Planning 8.1 still supported? You can find that on the IBM Cognos website under the supported documents. And also, you always want to check those supported environments. So let's say you're going to upgrade to Windows 7. Is that supported with the version you are on? Whenever you hear about IT upgrading your environment, make sure they go check this. I've had a number of situations where clients will call and they're like, all of a sudden, this doesn't work. Yeah, the version of Cognos you're on doesn't work with Windows 7. Or, time to upgrade your Cognos. So keep an eye on that. Also, go out to our website, Loadstar Events. Has a list of everything that we have to offer, all our webinars, all our location events, all our conferences that are coming up. So please check that out, as well as our blogs. We have a lot of great blogs out there. Our blogs come from our clients. They tell us or they ask us questions, and it triggers blog ideas. So if you have those, let us know. We're willing to write on almost any topic as it relates to this business analytics subject matter. And then finally, here are our contact information. So if you're looking to get a copy of our functionality grid, please feel free to email me. I'm at the top there. Some of you, your assigned Loadstar representative would be Curtis Looney, and Bethany Nonami heads up our services team. And Bethany, if you need any customized on-site training, you need some kind of technical help, you need consulting in any areas of Cognos, she can help you there. And I apologize, the person my slide is missing is Kelly Ray, but as a result of you being part of this email, you will probably, or this presentation, you will probably get emails from kray@loadstarsolutions.com. Many of you know who Kelly is. She is our support renewal queen. So she would be happy to help you with any support renewals and make sure your licenses and your sites and everything is cleaned up. So please, we look forward to working with you. If you have Cognos needs, please consider Loadstar as your go-to solution. And we look forward to seeing you on additional webinars and at our events coming in the future. Thanks, and have a great day.